So now we introduce a new framework for thinking about investment planning, unified portfolio theory. It's another feature. And one of the critical mistakes that we all make is we think it's all about information and features, and we want to give all the information we want up front to our clients and prospects. Feature, feature, feature. Look at all these features we have. Here's all the things we do. It's all about us. Instead of being focused on, we're here to help you. The risk is that you're going to seek to understand and build this framework for yourself and then seek to transmit what you've taught yourself about unified portfolio theory directly to your clients without filtering it through this important translator that I call the benefits of it. Clients, for the most part, don't make decisions based on statistics and charts and graphs and Morningstar reports. If they did, they would do it themselves. They wouldn't need you. I can get this chart online. You can get all the information about features and statistics online for free whenever you want. So why work with you? Because you can cut through the features, cut through the technicalities, and explain to them why they need to act, to define what their interests are, and get them to move in their own interest. You are the shortcut to their success. So we have to remember the important part is communicating at the investor level, at the client level, and that means how do we communicate unified portfolio theory, and in a broader sense, our value as a firm to clients. Does that value exist in the stuff that we offer that we've learned about? Or does our value exist in the changes in lives we make for people? So I want each of you to just think for a second right now, what is the most powerful, rewarding moment you've had in your professional career? Everybody got one? Just nod your head. Everyone's got one? Hopefully. Okay. I venture to say that none of you thought of the moment when, in a review meeting, your portfolio choices outperformed the index. Or some feature that you sold a client on kicked in. Wow, that feature, we didn't get it. We didn't have to pay for it. That's a real winning moment for us. No, I venture to say that what you thought of was a difference that you made in people's lives. How do we communicate our value as professionals through the filter of wealth management to our clients? And let's get very granular here and talk about when are the exact moments when we're sitting across from clients when we are able to tell our story. And to prepare yourself and your staff for those moments so that you're able to script out what your story is. The value proposition is a starting point. What do you believe about your firm? What is the good that you do in the world? Why do you wake up every morning? If you take the value proposition down to a very practical aspect, I want you to write down these 4 questions, please. Here's a typical client or a prospective client you meet, and the client asks, what do you do for a living? What do you do for a living? The Spanish is actually better. It's ¿a qué se dedica? To what do you dedicate yourself? What do you do for a living? Second question, how can you help me? Third question, what can I expect from working with your firm? What can I expect from you? And the fourth question, how do we get started? This may seem like simple questions, but you've got an entire sales cycle built into those 4 questions that people want to know. If you can communicate at every possible opportunity the answers to those questions to the right body of clients, you'll be successful. because you will have your own focused message of what your value proposition is and what it means in a real sense to clients, and how the relationship that you forge with clients is defined by your answer to those questions and the way you structure your business. Now, let's get into the realm of investments and investor features, benefits. I've distilled down our thinking here to a simple Wizard of Id cartoon. And the announcement here is 11 o'clock and time for the financial report. The week started with a huge upturn in the market, followed by a disastrous plunge midweek, with a stunning recovery the next day. Experts predict similar trends in the future. And there's the king. I'm getting seasick. I saw this cartoon back in the fall, and I said, you know, this speaks volumes to the way we need to communicate with clients about setting expectations for what happens. It's not a perfect chart where everything goes up 8.2% a year. There are swings and there are emotional costs to what goes on in investing. So think about how the truths in here relate to the investor experience. The week started with a huge upturn. Well, think about it from the investor's point of view. What is a huge upturn? What's huge for you may not be huge for somebody else. We don't know. What does it mean to you? What would a huge upturn mean to you? How would you quantify it? How would it make you feel? What would it do for you? Right? A disastrous plunge. What's a disastrous plunge? What would it take for you to say, what a disaster, and what would you do about it? Would you call me? Would you just quit? Would you hide under the bed? Would you engage in bad behavior? The Nick Murray bad behaviors? What would you do? Stunning recovery the next day. Experts predict. What experts? Who do you listen to? Who do you consider experts? When someone speaks on TV, does it bother you? Does it affect you? Does it cause you to act or to engage in bad behavior? What can we do about it? What can I do to help you? Who's your expert? Do you need experts or do you need a coach? Again, it's Nick's point about focusing on the investor. The market's down 20%, your portfolio's down 12%. Plan is intact. Talk to you in 3 months. Can you do that? Can you train your clients to act like that? Experts predict similar trends in the future. Again, what's the future? What does the future mean to you? Isn't it a relative term? Is the future for the Stanford University Endowment Fund different than a pre-retiree? What is the future? How do you define the future? What do you see in the future for yourself? What are you missing in your vision of the future? And I'm getting seasick, right? Think about what that means. I'm getting seasick. The markets are making me sick. Do you get sick about the markets? I get sick. What do your clients do when they get sick? Maybe they never take a voyage, right? So I'm not going to get seasick. I'm not going out on the sea anymore. Or do they seek treatment while they're out there and get seasick? Hey, what expectations do you set for your clients? When you get seasick, here's what you should do. Call me. Because we'll take out the investment policy statement and make sure that our plan is on track. Like Nick says, your portfolio is down 12%, plan's on track. Is your plan on track? Let's make sure it is. So call me when you get seasick. Expectations for the relationship about the investor and you. I want you to imagine, put yourself in your client's shoes. Say it's a tax client, a law client, you know the client pretty well. They're coming in to talk about wealth management. Or you're having your first conversation to see whether you can work together on the financial services side. How do you think the client feels coming into your office to talk about their financial life with you? How do they feel? Vulnerable. Great word. Why? Why would they think that? Have you ever sold them anything? You've never sold them anything. Why do they feel vulnerable and think you're going to sell them something? That's why they've been treated for 25 years. Exactly right. They feel vulnerable. They feel like they're going to be sold. What else might make them vulnerable? Someone else has done something bad to them. Why else might they feel a little skittish? You think they've made mistakes in their investment lives? They want to tell you about them? When you find out through their tax return or some conversation they've made a mistake or done something that didn't work out in the past, what should you do? Give you a choice. Should you beat them over the head about it, tell them what fools they are, or kind of ignore it and say, I see you invested with a Merrill Lynch broker. Let's do this. Here's what we do for our clients. Or, let me ask you, how carefully did you review your tax return or tax situation with your Merrill Lynch broker before he put this investment program in place? Oh, didn't think of that. He never asked me. Okay. When Merrill Lynch gives your client a proposal, any kind of literature, it has in fine print down near the bottom, it says, this is not tax advice. We do not give tax advice. Please consult your tax advisor before doing anything stupid. That's what it says. Okay? Well, Jeff Watson in Indianapolis area took a Merrill Lynch disclaimer and blew it up and had it laminated, and he shows it to his clients. On the flip side, he has the ad that Merrill Lynch has, Total Merrill with the wheel. It purports to be their version of the Method 10. It talks about retirement planning, education planning, business planning, estate planning. You know what's missing from their Total Merrill? There's no tax planning. Is that an advantage you have over the competition? Do your clients know that? Absolutely not. They don't have a clue. Why would they know that? Go back to this here pre-sale meeting now. The client's preparing. Do you know more about the client? Does the client know more about you? Who knows more? You know more. So don't assume that your clients know what you do for a living. They don't know. Just ask them. They really don't know. They're surprised sometimes when you offer, I'd like to talk about long-term care. You do insurance? They don't have a clue. You have to tell them the value you can bring to them through specific services. It's part of your value proposition. And clients do not deal with their tax issue on their own, do they? They filter it through you. They just tell me where it hurts and make it go away, and that's all I want to know. Right? So when they see their Merrill Lynch guy, it's not even in the conversation. So you need to bring it into the conversation. You need to do that. It is incumbent upon you to tell clients what they're not getting elsewhere, what you can do. It's your value add. Absolutely. So what happens at this pre-meeting? And here's what I suggest the key first question is. Clients come in, we know they're vulnerable, they're nervous, they're thinking they're going to be sold, they're white-knuckling the chair. They really are. So a good question would be, how can we help you? Why do you think that would be a powerful question? I'm sitting here, you're in my office, how can we help you? Instead of saying, here's all the ways we can help. We got Method 10, we got insurance, let me show you posters, things like this. How can we help you? What will that elicit from the client that would be helpful? Their concerns, their fears, mistakes they've made in the past. Maybe they just made a big mistake. That's why they're considering another advisor. Maybe they have expectations of what you can do. Here's where you find out, here's what I think you can do for me. They may have a partial truth, but I don't think they'll know the whole picture. So how can we help you? What do you think we can do for you? Right? So you get their own experience, their own mistakes, what they think you can do for them. And then you can kind of use what they say as the bridge to say, I'm glad you know that we can provide investment advice. But we work with clients from a wealth management perspective, and you tell them the whole story. But first get their partial truths or insights into what you can do for them. They have some story, otherwise they wouldn't be there. There's a reason they're there. They think you can help, but they don't have the whole picture. Get from them what they know already, then dive in. It's like you go to the doctor. He asks you how you're doing and tell me what's going on. Why are you here? He doesn't start with tests right away. He listens to you first to see what he can draw out of you. So you draw it out. You might get things, what's their perception? They might get things, well, taxes are an important part of investments. You've given me investment advice in the past. I've seen this wealth management stuff coming in my mailbox. It interests me. What they want to hear, here's a message I think you need to communicate with them. After you've heard them out, you know them already probably pretty well, and you size them up. One of the most comforting phrases you can use is, we work with people just like you. Right? This is not like an isolated one-off, because people think they're different. Right? Everyone thinks they're different. I'm different. I'm not qualified. I'm not rich enough. I don't have enough money. They could have $5 million in investable assets. They still don't think they're rich enough. This wealth management isn't for me because I'm not wealthy. Right? We work with people just like you. So we understand your issues. We have the ability to craft solutions. We can work together. Okay? So we work with people just like you. So this is all, again, you're eliciting from them what their expectations are. Right? To Tony's point, then comes the value proposition. We work with people just like you, and our mission, our goal, why we get up every morning, is to offer you all our capabilities, all our expertise, all our knowledge to enable you to deliver on the important promises you make in life. The important promises you make in life. Promises to your spouse, to your kids, to your family, to your church, to your college, to yourself. Promises you've already made. Promises that you want to make but don't think you can because you're not confident enough in delivering on them. And promises you don't even know about. We'll help you figure out what you haven't thought of. Promises you will have to make in the future. That's how we can help you, and we work with people just like you all the time to do that. Have you pulled out a prospectus yet or an Ibbotson chart? Are people feeling less vulnerable now? They feel like they're in a safe place? This is what I've been looking for. But again, you're still eliciting from them and reacting to it. Write this down. How many pay raises have you experienced over your career? Right? Whether you're self-employed or work for someone else, you get raises, right? Imagine, I'm envisioning Nick's image of the two postage stamps, the 15-cent and the 42-cent stamp. How many raises have you experienced over your career? So for a pre-retiree, one of those retirement red zone people, the next question is, you're 60 years old, you and your wife are 62, your joint life expectancy is 92. Who's going to give you a raise in retirement? Who's going to give you a series of raises in retirement? Social Security, good luck with that. Here's how I would frame, here's another thing that clients need. They're in a warm, comfortable place now. They're not feeling so vulnerable. Remember the question, what can I expect? So they say, look, I know who you are. We can help you. We work with people just like you. We're going to work to help you deliver on your promises that you make. Here's what you can expect. We approach your financial life through a prism called wealth management. That's a holistic, comprehensive perspective on all of the financial imperatives in your life. None of them are in isolation. They all work together. And we organize those wealth management issues around a system we call the Method 10, the 10 key areas of wealth management that you may experience over the course of your life. Our job in working together is to determine which of those Method 10 elements apply to you and need to be addressed as issues, and need to implement solutions about them, customized to your situation, so that those issues do not become problems. My job is to help you prioritize among these elements and determine which ones we need to address sooner rather than later. And we do this, we explore these Method 10 elements through a series of meetings. First, we have a discovery meeting like we're having now, where we find out about one another. We uncover what's important about money to you, who is important to you, and the promises you've made of how your wealth is going to deliver to these people and institutions that are important to you. Then we'll prioritize and select the Method 10 issues we need to address. We will craft customized solutions, and we'll have an implementation meeting where we implement the solution to the issue we've addressed. You will actually have a prescription for what could possibly ail you in the future if it's left untreated. Then after we've implemented a solution, we'll identify the next Method 10 issue we need to explore. And we'll set a review meeting where we will review the solution we've implemented and make sure it fits what's going on in your life. We'll check on the status of your promises, old, new, and future. And we'll go and rediscover what you need to address now, the next Method 10 issue. So, discovery meeting, implementation meeting, review meeting. We work through all your wealth management issues through this cycle of meetings. How long will this cycle of meetings last? As long as your life, and hopefully beyond. Hopefully beyond. How can you say that? This relationship is going to last longer than your life. So I'm in Sun City, Arizona, doing a seminar. Anyone been to Sun City, Arizona? What's the average age in Sun City, Arizona? Yeah. Thank you. If you're lucky. How old? Mid-70s. Yeah, mid-70s. You're probably a spring chicken. I mean, if you're a man and you can drive a car at night, you're George Clooney. Okay? So I'm in Sun City doing a seminar, and I'm talking about long-term investing, and there's a guy sitting right here with the walker and the hearing aid. And I'm talking about long-term investing, and he interrupts me and says, Bill, I got to interrupt you. He goes, my advisor wants me to buy a 10-year Southwestern Bell bond, 15-year bond, something like that, 10 or 15-year bond. He goes, I'm 86 years old. I don't even buy green bananas. He says, how can I buy a 10 or 15-year bond? And having lived in Florida 7 years, I knew the answer. I said, sir, you know, you're 86. There's good news and bad news. The bad news is you may die soon. The good news is your wealth that you've built up over your lifetime is going to live on after you. So you may have to buy green bananas, but your investment portfolio needs that long-term bond. And he nodded. I know that. I was just trying to pull your chain kind of thing. But I mean, that's the nature of the relationship. When Nick says, he didn't talk in detail about the annual meeting, he goes, have as many people in the room as possible. What was he talking about? Family, multi-generational wealth management. Because when you're talking about wealth distribution, talking about wealth transfer, you're talking about the people that are important to you. The promises that you're going to deliver on involve people. Shouldn't you be talking to them? It's very common to ask people about their kids. How old are your children? Do you ask that question routinely? Tell me, how old are your children? What if the children are grown up? What do the prospective clients or clients say to you? Did they give you their ages? What do they say? Says, yeah, they're out of the house. I said, oh, that's okay. I'd just like to know their names and how old they are because I don't want the first time I talk to them to be after you're deceased and I give them the call to go over your finances. Oh, right away. They'll give you the names and addresses and phone numbers and their whole history right then. It makes sense, right? You're concerned about the whole family, the promises that they're making. Second question, this I learned from a firm last year in North Carolina at one of the Advanced Solutions programs. If you were there, it was why I didn't think of it, I guess, I don't know, but it was brilliant. This advisor asks clients, he has clients, baby boomers and up, how old are your parents? Is that a good question? Do you? How old are so what did I say? How old are your parents? So if they're dead, oh, my parents are passed. What do you say to them? How old were they when they died? So if they ask me, my mother died when she was 56. Wow. How old are you, Bill? Well, I'm about to be 50. What's the follow-up question? How does that make you feel? How prepared is your family if you should die at age 56? Make sense? If they say, now they ask me about my grandfather. My grandfather was 96 years old. What's the follow-up question? Long-term care. 96 years old. Wow, you've got longevity in your family. How prepared are you and your family if you should live that long? Again, it's not just that you're making a sale, it's long-term care, it's life insurance. You're connecting promises, and maybe promises they don't know they'll have to make. There's an unwritten promise, I'm going to take care of my parents if they need help in their old age. Well, is that a real promise? That's something you can validate today? Something you should validate at some point in your life? Do you have to talk to your parents about how prepared they are if they should need support? Yeah. Right? Because that promise is, I want my parents to retire and grow old with dignity, to maintain their lifestyle, to be as independent as possible. That's the promise. And if you don't know the situation, you can't define the promise for your clients. That's part of your job. Help them identify the promises that maybe they haven't clearly defined or even thought of yet.